This is the edelkrone StandPLUS. More specifically, this is the version 2 one that I've been using for a little over a year now, and I thought I would make a video about it because it's been so awesome to use in my workspace, and this is probably one of the best tools that any single shooter content creator can bring into their workflow because it is just that awesome. A couple of things before we get into this video is that edelkrone has recently announced a version 3 model of the StandPLUS. There is a much more affordable, lightweight, compact version of this that is available on their site now. And there is the StandPLUS Pro, which is more closely aligned to what this one is. It's almost exactly the same. It has a little bit more carrying capacity than this one does. If you want to check pricing and availability, feel free to hit the affiliate links in the description. Full disclosure, those are my affiliate links. So if you shop through those, it costs you nothing in addition to your purchase, but it helps support content creation here on this channel. So without further ado, let's get into this video. Like I was saying earlier, this one was originally released in January of 2023. They had an original version that was much older than that they kind of fell out of production for a while, and then they brought it back with this one. And it looks like this one's here to stay because it's had such an impact on some creators out there. It has most definitely had that type of impact on me. And in setting up for this video, I have my camera on a tripod that I've kind of put in the corner that's just been collecting dust and making changes to shooting scenery like this from taller to shorter. It becomes much more cumbersome when I'm doing it with the tripod. This thing, I would just roll to the next position and lower it, and it's quick, done, easy. Anyways, to talk about this in a little bit more detail, the version 2 is roughly 10 pounds. So it's not light, but it's pretty compact and easy to carry around. I would say it's much more easier to carry around than a folded up tripod, but there are some really nice compact tripods out there that may be more compact and more advantageous to you, mobile shooters out there. The StandPLUS is definitely meant for a studio environment, and preferably ones with hardwood floors or concrete like I have here. This thing has a max carrying capacity of 5.5 pounds. The version 3 StandPLUS Pro has a little bit more, so 6 pounds. The StandPLUS's minimum operation height is 22 inches. The maximum is around 60 inches tall. So it's a pretty tall and substantial piece of equipment. And I mean, all of it's friction based on the Allen key that's provided in the unboxing experience. Packaging has changed quite a bit over time. I think they've gone a more economical direction, which I think is fine because I mean, packaging is packaging. And you really never really touch this, but it's less Apple-esque per se and more eco-friendly. So as you can see, it's just one tiny little thing and one sticker that looks more recyclable, eco-friendly packaging. It looks like it's kind of hit some turbulence in its shipping, as you can see here, but that doesn't matter. As long as everything inside is fine, I don't care. So let's cut into this and then show you what the StandPLUS includes in its packaging. I think it's just the stand. So even with it being eco-friendly, don't worry about your shipping or your contents being damaged. As you can see, there's some moldings here that hold the StandPLUS in place during shipping. So just because it's eco-friendly doesn't mean it's any less protective. Right in the box, you're presented with the StandPLUS. Let's get this out of the box. As you can see, it is held in place by those moldings inside of packaging. You're given 2 Allen keys, one really tiny one and one big one to make adjustments to tensions on each one of the joints here. I highly recommend that if you do get the StandPLUS, you do that QR code and follow the instructions because they have a lot of really insightful information on how to properly use their equipment. Don't play the guessing game and try to figure it out because if you put a really expensive camera on top of this, I'd hate for you to drop it and break a lens or just destroy your camera. This is the StandPLUS in its travel mode, and it's really, really nice. It looks like it's powder coated. It weighs a good amount. Let's test that here. It's about 10 pounds, 7 ounces. Not bad. Here's where you're gonna mount your camera, and it's connected to the handle, which has a rotation knob here for comfort so you can get that perfect angle. In the past with other edelkrone pieces of equipment, their packaging has been much more substantial. Not to knock them or anything like that. I know there's cost savings there and it benefits the planet and whatnot, but I wish they would get back to a little bit of that. So with that said, let's get into kind of setting this thing up and taking a closer look at some of the stuff. One thing that you're gonna wanna note with the StandPLUS version 2 is that it comes with these steel ball feet that clank around quite a bit and make quite a bit of noise. I've also noticed that there can be potential for grit and stuff to get wrapped up inside of there. And if you have like soft hardwood floors or laminate that's not too tough, that could cause some significant damage to the floor. So just be mindful of these feet. The version 3 has plastic feet, which I think are gonna be more forgiving in those instances for people that have those soft hardwood floors and whatnot. And it's probably not going to be as loud when you move it around. I'll demonstrate that here shortly, or when you're carrying it. You can hear these steel ball bearing feet clanking around nonstop. And I think it also is not the best design. I think their update to the version 3 is probably gonna be better for most people. And if you are concerned with your floors and stuff like that, go with the version 3 Pro or the version 3. They have plastic feet built in here. Into the demonstration portion of this thing, it's in its carrying mode right now. There is a little thumb space right here. So that's where I'm gonna place my thumb. I'm gonna back up so I can demonstrate this on camera. So you're gonna hold the carrying handle here and then press the thing down with your thumb. As you can see, the legs are getting pressed out. Lock it into place, then place it on the floor. And then my knee, it plays key here. So I put my knee on this portion of the StandPLUS and then push it out, raise it up, and use the handle here. So I grab it like this because it gives me more control over it. From here, let me pop out of the scene here real quick. I would take my camera. It's a standard 1/4-20 mount on top of this little base plate portion of the StandPLUS. Get this screwed into place, and then voila. There it is. It's in its standing position. It's not at its max height. I can go a little bit higher. So there is about 60 inches of height. So now I want to demonstrate how loud this thing is on just regular concrete floors. You can hear that it's not very nice in rolling. I tend to just pick it up because it's so light and move it around. I'll do that one more time so you can get a good gauge of like how it just doesn't feel right. So here we go. That noise to me is not very, it doesn't sound right. And I would be very careful with the soft hardwood floors like I was saying before. So now let's talk about going into the overhead mode. Let me get a little closer to the camera here. You would just grab right here with your fingers on this first like junction of the StandPLUS. Then from here, you grab and pull in and push out into overhead mode. As you can see, the camera is in overhead mode, so you could get a good tabletop type of shot and whatnot. One thing to be careful of is that if these two little junctions here are not tight enough, this thing will tend to lean forward. Let me see if I can get it to kind of bend forward, even just with the camera's weight. I have a pretty heavy Sigma lens on my A7 IV. As you can see, it's getting kind of weak in that, but I would say that would never be something that I would use or shoot. Just be very careful with that. Don't overextend your overhead shots because you can get some pretty decent ones. I would say that you would leave it in this mode and have a nice table or something lower and have a nice seat and be comfortable and get into your overhead shots. This thing is really nice for that. So now getting into putting it into its carrying mode, you're gonna grab the handle, grab this middle part, push, pull. Don't fight with it. Watch the instructional video that I'll link in the description for this thing if you just purchased it. There's no need to wrestle with this thing or potentially use it wrong, risking damage to your equipment or injury because there's a lot of pinch points on this thing that you can squeeze your fingers on. So I'm just gonna put this down into its floor mode and pick it up by the carrying handle. And then from here, let me get closer to the camera. I'm gonna readjust my holding here for a sec. You never wanna put your fingers inside of this area just to keep it away because it will pinch and pinch pretty badly. You're gonna take your finger and push that button, that release button there, but don't do it like I am holding it here. So You're gonna hold it with your handle like this, lift up, see my finger, push it, release it, and it goes down into its carrying mode with the camera attached. And I think that's pretty nifty in my opinion. So that's a quick demonstration of the StandPLUS Pro and version 2. I don't know about the StandPLUS version 3 because there's a single arm in the middle. I don't know how the overheads go with that. But that's pretty much the StandPLUS in a nutshell. Okay, so now I want to talk about using this thing on carpet. The thing with this setup here though is that there is no padding under this. Traditional homes have padding under the carpets. So I'm going to go ahead and put this thing into its stand mode on this carpet. Bring it up. You're not going to see me bring it up there, but here we have no movement. It's really difficult to move the steel ball bearings onto the carpet. I am pressing and it's a lot of wobble. So just keep in mind that you're gonna wanna pick it up and move it around on the carpet. Another thing that you're gonna wanna know, or probably are thinking, is that how much bounce on the head is there with the carpet at its feet. So let's get to that now. So now that this thing is in place on carpet, you can see that there is some wobble with the StandPLUS, and that's on carpet. Just the nature of how the feet are designed and how this thing manages it with it being friction based. That's just what it is. I will say you can stop it depending on how thick your carpet is. If you have some 1970s shag carpet, good luck. I probably would say that you would want to stick with a tripod if you're shooting in that instance, but there is a little bit of wobble if I tap this. If you bump it or are walking and you're not on a stable, ground, you're gonna see those micro jitters in your footage, especially if it's like zoomed in or you're trying to do some macro stuff. Just keep in mind that on carpet, this little head will wobble. And I'm gonna take another opportunity to say that this thing is not built for panning and tilting. Too inconsistent based on, its friction here. So its tilt, I would never depend on that for this. It's just stationary kind of shooting. And I don't know how over time these little bearings and stuff would wear, because that's not the intent of the StandPLUS. And good luck doing any panning on carpet. It's just not gonna happen. So most of you, or some of you, may be thinking to attach a fluid head on top of this. I wouldn't do that because of its inconsistency with its stand. It's not as sturdy a base as a tripod can offer. So just keep that in mind. Those are some limitations of the StandPLUS. No panning, no tilting, and then on carpet it gets a little weird with some micro jitters. In making this video, I set up different scenes on purpose using the tripod just to remind myself of how awesome this thing is. So I'm going to do a comparison of setup and shooting with the camera and also break down. So first I'm gonna do the StandPLUS in setting it up and getting it ready to shoot. Pop over to grab my camera, line up the 1/4-20, secure it, make sure everything's good. And then take an opportunity to kind of show you what a pan would be on some hardwood. You can see, not gonna work. Anyway, I'm shooting my shot for this height, like with the camera in front of me. And then let's say, for example, I wanna get down into a seated position on the couch here like I was shot earlier. That's quick and easy. Wait for the jitters. The jitters aren't too bad on hardwood floor. Wait for those to settle, shoot that shot, move it back around, go back up to the shot here, do some zooming or whatnot. Then I'm ready to pack up and get out of here. Take the camera off, put it in my camera bag, pretend that's a camera bag, and press this thing down. Bring it back up. Put it in whatever bag I'm using, and then book it out of town. So that is awesome. Like, that in and of itself saved me a bunch of time. So now I'm gonna flip the camera onto this and then do the same with the tripod that I'm using. Here's where the fun begins. I have a Manfrotto 504 HD fluid head on a pair of MVT 535 legs or sticks. So let's get into setting this thing up. First and foremost, let's drop the legs out individually. And And I gotta take the fluid head handle. I know you don't have to do this, but it's part of the setup that I would consider important to using the fluid head on this setup. And now I gotta get my camera. The thing with this though is that I got it out of my bag and it doesn't have my base plate on it. So need to install that. Make sure it's tight. So I'm gonna get a tool. And I just have this stuff readily accessible for purposes of this video. And usually it will take a longer time for setup on any other shoot. So get that locked into place. Now I'm ready to go. So the benefit of this though is that it's extremely stable. No rocking or anything. I can take this, put it on carpet. It's still gonna be extremely rock solid. Also, I have fluid, tilt, and panning capabilities that are very consistent and nice. And additionally, I have a leveler so I can level out my footage as well. So if that's important to you, you know who you are, and that's what you're gonna use a tripod for. Moving this thing around is extremely quiet because you have to pick it up and move it around. And I don't know the weight capacity of this thing, but it's probably 5 or 10 times more than what you would consider on the StandPLUS. The thing is that now I need to get to that shot that I was sitting on the couch. So I need to bring my legs in. Drop down these, set, lock them in, expand it, and then try to get it perfectly aligned. To me, that is a big pain in my butt, especially since this isn't like my full-time job. So now let's get back into breaking this thing down. Take the camera off and put it in my bag over here. Take this back up. Unlock the legs, stow them, stow it, and then put the handle down and put it in my bag and I'm off and going. So you can see the comparisons between the two. They're both awesome. I just prefer the StandPLUS because of its quick setup and ease of use versus this, especially in a compact space. That's one thing that I didn't mention. The compact space thing is another thing that won me over with the StandPLUS because it has the two furthest legs that spread out and allows you to kind of close the gap, especially in tight, confined spaces. That does it for the setup comparisons. Let me know with a comment down below what you think. I know there's a bunch of different ideas out there or things that I didn't really take into consideration. I'm just making this video based off my use case and how awesome the StandPLUS has been for me in creating content here on this YouTube channel. Moving to close the video out, is the StandPLUS perfect? I would say for me, absolutely. It works wonders in every shooting environment that I can throw at this thing. Being a at-home type of, having my own home office that's pretty small, shooting setup that requires that I don't spend a ton of time setting up shots, because I am not a full-time content creator. I have a regular 9-to-5 job. And this allows me to create content quickly and at a higher quality than I would with a tripod. Because thinking about setting up shots with a tripod just makes me tired and makes me not want to do it. And this makes it so quick and easy that I will shoot even if I have a little bit of inclination not to shoot my video. I don't know, I've been doing YouTube for quite some time, and then working through tripod setups in a tight confined space is difficult to say the least, and becomes so cumbersome that I kind of either allow the footage to be crappy or the composition to be crappy versus making the adjustments to the tripod, or just not shooting at all because it's just such a big pain in my butt. I will say that for $490 at the time of this video, the version 2 and version 3 are the same price. I would say that it is wholeheartedly worth it, especially for the quick setup. Because there's some Sassler tripods, quick tripods out there, but those run like 2,500 bucks, and I just don't have the funds for that. This gives me a similar type of experience for quick, ease setup, really nice small footprint, and allows me to do things that I wouldn't necessarily do if I had to set up a tripod. Now, that's just me on my soapbox, kind of sharing with you my experience as being a content creator that is doing this as a hobby. With that all out of the way, let me know what you think. I'd be especially interested in hearing from my peers that create content on YouTube, what you think about the StandPLUS. Do you have one? Are you thinking about buying one? You know, just I'd love to hear the conversation around this piece. With that being said, I have nothing to disclose. I purchased this thing with my own hard-earned cash, with the support of you out there that like and subscribe and share my videos. Also, those of you that shop through my affiliate link. I will say again that every link in the description, or not every link, but a good majority of the links in the description are my affiliate link. I make a little bit of money based on your support through shopping through those without it costing you anything in addition. So if you feel like supporting content creation on this channel, shop through those affiliate links, throw me a like, and that'll do. I really appreciate it. Well, that about does it for me in this one. If you enjoyed this video, please feel free to give me a thumbs up. If you didn't, you know what to do. Thank you for taking the time to watch. I'm Tomas, and I'll catch you in the next one.